Every team in the NFL needs a safety, sure. But let's not sugarcoat it. The Miami Dolphins don't just need a safety, they're desperate for one. And don't let anyone downplay this. This isn't a casual, oh, we'll figure it out later situation. This is DEFCON 1 for the Dolphins. Their current roster reality? Both Jevon Holland and Jordan Poyer, the heart of their safety unit, are set to hit free agency. And with a cap situation that's already tighter than a fourth-and-goal defensive stand, Miami might have no choice but to start looking toward the draft for answers. Enter Mel Kiper Jr., the draft guru himself, who's out here throwing lifelines to the Dolphins fan base. In his latest mock draft, he's got Miami landing Georgia's Malachi Starks with the 13th overall pick. Now, let me tell you something about this guy, Starks. He's not just another safety prospect. No, this man is a problem. 6'1", 205 pounds of pure athleticism, versatility, and instinct. Pro Football Focus isn't being subtle about their opinion either, ranking him the best safety in this draft class and the 7th best prospect overall. 7th best. We're not talking about a guy who just barely cracked the first round. This is a top-tier talent who could anchor the Dolphins' secondary for years to come. But here's the thing. Miami's defense, statistically, was solid last year. No one's denying that. Top 10 against both the pass and the run? Only 3 teams allowed fewer total yards? On paper, it all sounds like a dream. But don't get too comfortable with those numbers. Those stats were built on the backs of players like Holland and Poyer, 2 safeties who played more than 90% of the defensive snaps. Together, they racked up 160 tackles, 7 pass breakups, and even forced a fumble. Let's not mince words, they were the backbone of that defense. But here's the gut punch, neither of them is locked in for next season. Now, let's talk about Jevon Holland for a second. The guy's an absolute stud. PFF ranks him as the 3rd best free agent on the market and projects him to command a 4-year, $98 million contract this offseason. $98 million. And where does that leave Miami? Sitting $14 million over the salary cap for next year. Do the math. Unless Chris Grier has some Houdini-level cap magic up his sleeve, the Dolphins are staring down the barrel of losing Holland to a bigger paycheck elsewhere. And if Holland walks, you can bet Poyer isn't sticking around either. That leaves Miami scrambling to fill not one, but 2 massive voids in the secondary. Enter Malachi Starks. Now, let me paint you a picture of this guy. Starks isn't your average rookie safety who might need a year or 2 to develop. No, he's plug-and-play. As Kiper pointed out, the guy can line up anywhere. You want him in space as a traditional safety? Done. Need him over the slot to shut down those pesky tight ends and quick slot receivers? No problem. This guy has the versatility defensive coordinators drool over. He backed up his 52-tackle season in 2023 with another 77 total tackles, 52 of them solo, in 2024 for Georgia. And this isn't just some stat-padding nonsense. He's making meaningful plays, and he's doing it on the biggest stage for one of the best programs in college football. And let's not overlook his physical gifts. Pro Football Network is calling this guy a hyper-explosive, lab-built athlete. Lab-built. That's the kind of phrase you reserve for the freaks of the sport, the ones who make the highlight reels every Sunday. They go on to rave about his exceptional mass, proportions, and length. Translation? The dude's a physical specimen who's going to bully NFL wideouts and running backs from day one. They also talk about his ability to play in multiple schemes, 2 high, single high, in the box, off man in the slot. Whatever you need, Starks can do it. He's not just a Swiss Army knife, he's the whole toolbox. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. The Dolphins haven't exactly had the best track record when it comes to drafting safeties in the first round. The last time they did it was Minkah Fitzpatrick back in 2018. And listen, Minkah is a star. 5 Pro Bowls, 3 first-team All-Pro nods, he's a generational talent. But here's the catch. Miami got 18 games out of him before shipping him off to Pittsburgh. 18 games. That's not a bad draft pick. That's a franchise mismanagement disaster. If the Dolphins are going to invest a first-round pick in Malaki Starks, they've got to do it right this time. No trades. No drama. No second-guessing. They need to lock this guy in and let him become the cornerstone of their defense. But here's the kicker. Even if Starks turns out to be everything Kiper and PFF say he is, will it be enough? Because let's face it, this team has more questions than answers right now. The cap situation is a mess. The offense has moments of brilliance but still struggles with consistency. And the defense, while statistically impressive, might be a shell of itself if they can't keep their key players. Starks might be the answer to one problem, but he's not going to solve all of them. This team needs a plan, a real, long-term strategy, to build around their young talent and actually contend for a championship.